Hi everyone, Ed Jones again. Welcome back to our LinkedIn video training series. This is video number 2, where, as promised, we will take the profiles we already had or created in video number 1, and we will begin to expand on our existing profiles, filling in the information and completing the data that LinkedIn likes to see to consider it a complete profile. We'll begin this process by once again getting in our browser and navigating to the LinkedIn site, linkedin.com. Here, the last time when we set up our profile, we used this section here to fill in the information to set up an account. Now we're going to come up to sign in. We already have an account. We're going to fill in the email address we did in step number 1 when we created it. We're going to enter the password, click on sign in, and at this point it has taken us to a rather uninteresting home page. For those of you who are familiar with Facebook, the home page is equivalent of your wall on Facebook. This is information which is collected from news feeds from all of your connections, subjects that you follow, groups that you're involved in, all those kind of things, and it's displayed for your purposes. I was a little bit confused about this when I first got into the social networking sites. The home page, like your wall on Facebook and other types of things on MySpace, is visible only to you. Although this is information collected from everywhere, this information is only presented to you. So what's on your wall is only seen by you. What is seen by other people, depending on your permissions, whether it's everyone who ends up looking at your profile page or only people you're connected to, whatever, is really on the profile page. The profile page is information about you that is visible to anyone who visits. At this point in time, our profile page is also rather uninteresting, given that we haven't set anything up yet. So we're going to come up once again to the Profile tab up here, pull down to Edit Profile. This is where we will begin inputting information. All right. Over here is a statistic that is sort of a guide we will use throughout this thing. When someone has a professional LinkedIn subscription, one that they are paying for on a monthly basis, they have visibility for every search they do to the individual or company's profile completeness. It's sort of an indication to these people in these corporations who do these searches as to the seriousness with which the individual or company is taking LinkedIn in their profile. So our goal, by the time we're done, not with this video, but by the time we're done with the series, is going to have that 0% profile completeness change come all the way up to 100%. Now, probably today, we're only going to make it to 85%, and you'll see why when we get there. So the first thing we're going to do is, let me scroll down here a little bit. Over here, underneath where it talks about your profile completeness, it has a couple of options. One, it gives you the ability here to import your resume, and it attempts from that to fill in a lot of the information that's in the various subsections of your profile. I don't recommend that. I've tried on 2 different occasions with 2 different profiles to use the resume. And as I said, LinkedIn has to make some assumptions about the formatting of your resume. And in both cases that I tried it, it ended up being more work to go in and change things that where LinkedIn had made wrong assumptions than it was just to input it myself. So I'm going to ignore this block right here. Coming down below that, this is some fairly useful guide here. We talked about getting up to the 100% profile completeness. This is a step-by-step. First do this, next do this, next do this. We may not always go in exactly that sequence, but it is a useful guide. So if you get off on a tangent while you're doing this, get involved in something else, you come back, you don't feel like replaying this part of the video, you can come back to here, and as you complete each of these steps, it will disappear from this section. So it's sort of a running guide of where you are. This first one, I do agree. The first thing I believe you should do is add a current position. And there are some reasons why. This is going to set up some underlying infrastructure for other parts of your profile and your links. So I'm going to come to add a current position. I'm going to click on that link. So now we're going to indicate the name of the company for which we work. Obviously, for those of us watching this video, that is FloStor Engineering. This is pretty important here because we want to have everybody linked to the company. And it's very easy to spell the name slightly differently and so forth. So we're going to start typing. We're going to click in that field. We're going to start typing, and LinkedIn will begin to fill it in for us. Notice as soon as I got the first part of it in, it came and it's already found the company page for FloStor Engineering. We're going to go ahead and select that rather than continue to type it in, because if we left out a period or spelled something, didn't capitalize something, anything a little bit different, it would create a different company page and we would not be linked to the one to which we want to be linked. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to choose a title. Let's say I am a project manager for FloStor. Put that in. Click the time period. I currently work here. Let's choose when we started there. Let's say I started in June of 2001, and since I said I currently work here, it is defaulting to present. I'm going to update my headline. Notice it defaults. It takes the title, puts in the word at, and the name of the company for which I work. That's fine. That's all good so far. We want to do one more thing. It's very important for people trying to find other people in LinkedIn. If you're not in somebody's network and you try to connect with them and you have no connections, whether it's second-hand, third-hand, whatever, to that person, LinkedIn forces you to enter that person's email address. The whole philosophy here is that we want to be reachable. We want people to be able to find us. So we're going to use a trick, a part of a field that is provided by LinkedIn, that will put our email address at the very top of the profile. So I will say so we just fill that in there. Now a description, that would be sort of, what do we do here? I manage big projects. Whatever, just sort of a summary of what you do there. Now click on Save Changes. That now brings us back to our profile page. So notice when somebody views, I'm going to come up here. A useful thing as you go through this, come back up to the Profile tab. You pull down to View Profile, and that shows you what your profile looks like to other people when they view your profile. Sometimes if you're looking at it from the Edit view, you're going to see slightly different information. So it's very useful to be able to see your profile as others do. Alright, now let's come back over to Edit Profile. You can either come through this sub-tab, or let's get used to using this navigation bar up here. Profile, Edit Profile. And notice the Add Your Current Position has disappeared off of this list down here because we've done that. Also notice that the profile completeness has come up from 0% to 25%. So we're on our way. Now it's asking us to add another position. I will come to Add a Past. I could click on that. I will come over here, Add a Past Position. And I'm just going to make a couple things up here real quickly. I will say I worked at IBM, and I was a programmer. If only I could spell programmer, I might be one. And I worked there from January of 98 to May of 2001. And I wrote lots of code. Click on Save Changes. We now see profile completeness has come up to 40%. It wants you, in order to consider it to ever even approach 100%, it wants 2 previous positions. So hopefully everyone watching this has had at least 2 prior jobs to FloStor. If not, make something up. So let's add another position, and let's say I worked for Denny's Restaurants, and I was a waiter while I was going through school, and I worked there from September 1985 to August, let's make that June of 1994. And I waited on tables. Right, we've now completed the positions that we've had, and basically it's almost as if we had imported our resume. We've gone through it pretty quickly, although I wasn't putting very much in the way of information in here. What I typically do when I'm setting up a real profile like this is I have my resume up in another window, and I'll come over to that and I will cut and paste the actual information, the nice flowery prose describing what I actually did. Okay, we've got up 55%. We've got our previous positions in. I'm going to close out this video at this point because YouTube does have a maximum size of what you can put up there. We'll pick up video 3 will be a resumption of completing the profile, and we're making good progress. So I'll see you on the other side.